So this is Napheesa Collier, one of the co-owners of Unrivaled, and realistically, one of the very few players that are probably better at this point in time than Caitlin Clark. I will say, look, Fee is unbelievably good at basketball. Do I think she'll be better long term than Caitlin? No. Do I think at this point in time she's probably better than Caitlin? Yeah. I'll admit that. I'll put her, Stewie, AJ Wilson as probably better than her. But Fee robbed of at least an MVP vote this year. But her and Breanna Stewart are the co-founders of Unrivaled. And they are still trying hard to get Caitlin Clark. They are still pushing super, super hard for it. And yeah, we're also seeing the TV deal. Really them pushing hard for it. Caitlin Clark could sign the Messi deal. Like, she could sign the Messi deal. If you guys don't know what the Messi deal is, it's like he got so much stuff that was like outside of football. He got like a cut of every subscription to watch the league. He got a cut of all league merchandise sold. Like, not just his merchandise, all league merchandise sold. And a bigger cut, I think, of his own merchandise. As well as like a crazy salary. Like, the Messi deal might be the only thing that could convince Caitlin Clark to play in this league. And people being like, she doesn't need the money because she made $28 million. I'm sorry, that's literally like saying an NBA player doesn't need the money to have their rookie deal. Like, yeah, no one's going to turn down. Like, no, she's not going to turn down something that could come out to be 20, 30 million down the line. But this is what Fee Collier said about Caitlin Clark. It's just so crazy because the growth that Caitlin has brought to the game. Wow, she admitted it. That's a shock. The sheer amount of money that she's making these teams. People are having to move their venues when she comes to play. And, I thought that was, according to the Wall Street Journal, all Angel Reese. But, and the worst part is I'm out here like belittling the fact that Angel Reese did have some impact, about 1/100th of the impact of Caitlin Clark, but she does have a decent enough impact. Second biggest draw in the league, but it's like when you're comparing it to the impact of Caitlin Clark, it's like comparing the impact of, Robbie Keane going to the MLS, comparing that to the impact of David Beckham. But she's getting paid $75,000 a year. She should be one of the top paid players in the world. Just for sheer numbers, she is bringing. So she's not wrong. Fee is not wrong, and obviously she's trying to convince Caitlin Clark to play in her league because, look, I can almost guarantee you that Fee has quite a bit bigger of an equity stake in Unrivaled than, say, Azare Stevens. I think the players having equity, I think all the players have probably negotiated different amounts of equity. I think Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, it would be probably Fee and Stewie probably have the most, and then Paige Beckers, Angel Reese probably have the next. Maybe Kelsey Plum. But yeah, they all have probably different equity shares. Because there is absolutely no way that they gave Azare Stevens the same amount of money as they're giving Angel Reese or Stewie or Fee. That's just not happening. But they're pushing really, really hard to get Caitlin. They really are. And the one thing is like, we're seeing it from TNT as well. Like, TNT, I think, are really pushing it. And I think that the reason why the players are pushing it is because as much as anything, I think there's a Caitlin Clark deal for the TV. I think it's a deal that makes sense for both of them. It's probably $10 million extra a year of investments if Caitlin Clark is there in the league. And that $10 million is nothing to TNT. It's not to Warner. But the thing is that $10 million is huge for Unrivaled itself, for the players. So Caitlin Clark herself is worth more than that $10 million for them. They know it. Caitlin Clark is probably worth $25-30 million for Warner alone. So the extra $10 million I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know, $5 million for Caitlin. Pay Caitlin $5 million and then pay the league 10. and you're still getting twice as much from that. So, and in long-term prospects. It's funny, though, and a lot of people are like, oh, the reason why they want Caitlin is because they want the fans that they've spent the whole year saying are the worst thing for the sport. I think if you ask players in Unrivaled, do you want Caitlin Clark in the league? I'm trying to just think of players. Dejanay would say no. Angel Reese would say yes. Because you do realize Angel Reese, we're seeing it from the podcast, she cannot stop talking about Caitlin Clark. She knows that unless she is talking about Caitlin Clark, or she is... essentially, she's just trying to rage bait. That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to rage bait people that don't like her, and then have the people that like her defend her from being hated by the people she's trying to bait into hating her. Like, she's smart at what she's doing. She obviously would want... there's probably no player that wants Caitlin Clark in that league more than Angel Reese. Paige Beckers obviously would say yeah. I'm trying to think what players would say no. So, it would be... Azare Stevens would probably say no, with some of the stuff I've seen her tweet. Trying to think who else. Maybe some of the Aces players would say no. But I do think that from an ownership perspective, when you're Stewie and your fee, and maybe even with the players, when it changes, when you have a little bit of an ownership in the league, when you're not just getting paid a salary whether or not she's there, you obviously want her in the league. You want her in the league because you want her fans in the league. The fans... the great Michael Jordan once said, Republicans buy sneakers too. And the reality is that if you are... sorry, I'm quite sick right now. If you are directly trying to sell a product to viewers, whether it be sell the product or sell the product as in that you pay with attention, then you don't want to alienate anybody. You can piss people off, by the way. Pissing people off is fine. There's a difference between that and alienating. Like, you can piss off somebody and they can want to come back. If you alienate an audience, they won't show up. Or they will just never come back again. And that is what Unrivaled are probably scared of doing as much as anything. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. So, Fee Collier is pushing hard. For all the people making up that Unrivaled actually don't want Caitlin Clark, that there's no real sources on these articles, I mean, the sources are literally the main person in TNT that's brokered the deal, and Fee Collier, one of the co-founders herself. So anyway, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Apologies for the rest of the day. I am quite sick. An 8-hour flight being this sick is not going to be fun. See you lads.